Hello everybody and welcome to Niagara Reds TV and the match preview for the Toronto FC versus Philadelphia Union game. Kicking off this Saturday, May 11th at 3 p.m. at BMO Field. Obviously Toronto FC coming into this game off the back of that 2-0 defeat to Atlanta United. Obviously the week before getting the result against Orlando City. So TFC sort of continuing down that path or trajectory of sort of start-stop, getting a result and then getting a loss and then getting a result again. So it looks like things will probably trend that way up until the secondary window. Philadelphia, top of the East, obviously, trending upwards. Coming into this game and looking at their last the last 6 games, where they've won 4 of the last 6, drew 1, and really their only loss in that span is to the Galaxy, which obviously Galaxy playing well in the Western Conference. So we're looking at an in-form Philadelphia Union team here who in their last 2 games have scored 8 goals. They've really figured things out with their 4-4-2 diamond formation that they've been playing. They have deployed the ever-popular 4-2-3-1 this season as well that a lot of the MLS sides are playing. If we look at the standings, if we look how TFC comes into this one, obviously TFC in 4th place, coming into this game with 5 wins, 3 losses, and a tie. Philadelphia coming in, as I mentioned, in 1st with 6 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws. So, if you look at where the teams are, standing wise, obviously 4 points separating the 2 teams, but another team in Philadelphia coming in that's trending upward, and that seems like the last few weeks that's what Toronto FC has been up against, and they've answered the bell on 1 occasion and then on 2 occasions haven't. So obviously against Portland was coming into that game and have continued off a win off Columbus and have continued that run after they beat TFC. Orlando, the Orlando game, again, Orlando, similar to sort of maybe how things are going at TFC right now with trying to figure some things out and battling some issues. Bit of a start-stop season for them, but TFC ultimately answered the bell at Orlando City Stadium. The Atlanta game, a team that has now won 4 in the last 5 games and has kept 4 clean sheets in that time. TFC getting completely overrun in that game. And now, again, facing a team moving in the right direction, has really settled on a formation and players that they want to have play in that formation, so much so that they traded their leading goal scorer in David Accam to Columbus. So this is going to be a tough game for Toronto for sure. That 4-4-2 diamond formation, and I'll put Philadelphia's team sheet up now. So as you can see, I don't see, the only change I see, they beat, as I mentioned last weekend, they've scored 8 goals in their 2 games. They won 6-1 at home. They beat a very poor New England side, albeit, but they did win 6-1 at home. So I don't see too many changes. The only change that I see is for them, we'll get to that when we talk about that spot, but across the back, same back 4 as what was deployed in that game for them midweek. And I think the goalkeeper keeps his spot as well. Obviously, Andre Blake is out with injury, which is a big loss for them. I believe the injury occurred during their game against Vancouver. But as you can see, same back four, same keeper, and then into the middle, Medrujanin, Montero, Bedoya, and this is where I think the change comes in. I mean, the change is out of necessity as Aronson went off injured, and I doubt that he'll be in the 11 for them. So I think in comes Ilsinho in that number 10 role where he's played. They do have a DP, Fabian, that has played in that spot as well. But I think that he'll want to keep the team changed. Ilsinho was the one that came on for Aronson as a substitute last week when he went off injured. And I just think that with how they're playing at the moment, and obviously, again, I know New England is poor, but turning them over for 6 goals last game, that they'll try to keep things as close to that side as possible. And so that's why I've only gone for that one change of necessity. And then, of course, the 2 up front keep their places, and Przybylko and Pico. So dangerous side. They like to use this 4-4-2 formation to get at you down the wings, which, as we know, is a spot where TFC is vulnerable. They like to get their fullbacks are going to get higher up the pitch, similar to what we saw against Minnesota United. So it's going to be a tough test for us for sure. On the Toronto FC side, as you can see, and the team have posted, it's a tough one, but I think that Bono passed the test for me in Atlanta. I know we lost 2-0, but as I mentioned on the review show, the goals weren't his fault. And so I think that Bono comes back into the team and keeps his place. Obviously, Moro, Mavinga, Simon, Oro. Vanny made mention that he hopes Moore is back this week, but I have to be honest, I've kind of lost faith in being able to pick Drew Moore because, and it's something that was mentioned on Twitter, and I'll get into a little bit now, is it seems that for whatever reason, whenever TFC mentions that a player is going to be hurt, that especially this season, that player seems to be have extended injury past what the club is saying they're going to be out for. And it's a bit bizarre, but I don't understand why that's occurring. Obviously, I know Moore had another setback in that groin injury, but I just don't think that it just seems like, and if you watched our channel on Twitter today, going back and forth with Michael Leach from 680 News, he had mentioned that, not as a hard rule, but generally that Vanny likes a player to come back into the side and train for 7 days. I don't know if Moore has been involved in a full training session for a week. With the games coming thick and fast right now, he might hold him out of the side again. So that's why I've gone for Simon. Oro on the right, obviously, and of course the midfield 5 with Osorio, Bradley, Delgado, De Leon, Pozuelo, and hopefully Altidore back into the side, and we can not go a 4th game without a goal from a center forward. So I think TFC keeps the same formation. Again, the battle for me is going to be on the wings, but then they've also got quality that can play through us. So those issues that we sort of addressed a bit in Orlando, but that just got absolutely blown out of the water against Atlanta, with allowing teams to play through us and get at us in wide areas, and then that translating, as I mentioned, the teams playing through us in the middle. Those are going to be key battlegrounds for us again in this game. Mavinga coming back in, I think hopefully will stabilize the defense a little bit. I thought that Zavaleta and Simon were a bit all over the place against Atlanta, but Mavinga in the games, in the Portland game and in the Orlando game, has really become a stabilizing figure for Toronto FC. I think he's done really well in the absence of Drew Moore the last few games, and has really taken on a leadership role and organized the back line. He's had some key interventions. He's read the danger well, and I think that the other defenders, I thought that Simon was good against Orlando. I thought Zavaleta was good against Portland, and I think that that's part of that is down to Mavinga really stabilizing things back there. So hopefully that's the case again. I could be wrong with Simon. Maybe Moore will be fit and come back into it, but I just feel like Vanny is going to pair Mavinga with one of the other two center backs, and I think it'll be Laurent Simon. So as far as TFC going forward, again, we need, and I know I say it, but I think that Osorio has done a good job in his work, in terms of his work rate and getting back and helping out when we get overloaded in those wide areas, which teams try to get at us. Hopefully, with Altidore back, that'll give us a little more in the attack in terms of fear factor for defenders, where if Josie makes that, which he's good at when we get possession, is making that sort of diagonal run out wide in order to pull defenders away and create space. And hopefully that'll allow Pizzuelo to get a little higher up the pitch. Pizzuelo, again, was just completely ineffective in the Atlanta game. But against Orlando, he had that beautiful diagonal delivery to Chapman. So Pizzuelo, and as I've said it before, he can operate in those deeper positions, but if Josie Altidore is playing for us, it just opens things up more in stretching defenders and pulling away, pulling defenders in the center and central areas away with him, and giving Pizzuelo room to operate closer to the opposition box and more important, closer to Josie, because as we know, he can, from those deep positions, find Altidore, but when he's playing higher up the pitch, then it just allows more of our attacking players to get forward and to be closer to him as well. So hopefully that's what happens. As far as again for Philadelphia, their goals seem to be spread out this season. As I said, their top goal scorer for the season so far is actually the man that they traded, David Accam, to Columbus, who ultimately, when Philadelphia went to this formation with David Accam being a wide player, sort of just lost his place, because with going to the 4-4-2 diamond and getting their width from their fullbacks, there wasn't really a place for him anymore in that diamond midfield. So they sort of just deemed him surplus to requirements. So having said that, as I said, getting goals from various areas in the pitch. They're a balanced team. The balance is right in this Philadelphia team at the moment. And when you have that situation, when you're getting goals from everywhere, it just adds to the fact that this team is in sync and that they're really connecting at the moment. So, as I said earlier in the show, another tough test. Hopefully TFC come through it. Prediction time for me. I'm gonna go with a 3-2 in this game. Again, Philadelphia is coming into this game having scored a lot of goals. I had the standings up here a minute ago, but I believe they've scored 18 goals so far this season. So, it's going to be, I think there's, like many of the games that TFC has played this season, there's going to be goals. They've scored 21 goals this season so that's quite a bit of scoring punch. TFC has also scored 21 goals this season so far. So clearly we have two teams here that are amongst the goals. So I think a 3-2. And with those defensive issues that TFC has still, it would be a good response for us from the Atlanta game. And of course, important to get the points on the board in this run of fixtures with another top team in the East in DC United coming in midweek. Another early season, and I think we say it every week, but an early season massive game for TFC to sort of keep putting points on the board leading up to hopefully reinforcements arriving in the summer. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.